Hey everyone, it's Leonard here. I need you to stay with me for the next few minutes because what I am about to tell you changed my life. And I mean that in a way that has nothing to do with fitness or bodybuilding or any of that nonsense you see on television. This is about a man named Raymond Kowalski. He was 71 years old, a retired electrician from Cleveland, Ohio, and he was my best friend for 43 years. And I almost watched him wither away to nothing. Not from cancer, not from heart disease, but because his body was quietly, invisibly running out of something it desperately needed. I am 79 years old. I spent 41 years practicing internal medicine. I have seen things that would make most people walk away from medicine entirely. I have held the hands of dying patients. I have delivered the kind of news no human being should have to deliver. But I have to tell you, watching Raymond shrink, watching his muscles disappear, watching him fall in his kitchen and lie there for 2 hours before his daughter found him, that shook me more than almost anything I witnessed in 4 decades of medicine. Because I should have caught it sooner. I knew the science. I just didn't look close enough at my own best friend. And here is the part that haunts me. The answer was sitting right there in his kitchen. He just didn't know what it was. And neither for too long did I. I will tell you what that food is in just a moment. But first, I need you to understand something about what happens inside your body when you do not get enough protein. Because most of you watching this are not getting nearly enough. I would bet my medical license on it. And I need you to understand why before I tell you what to do about it. Otherwise, you will hear the answer and forget it by dinner. Here is what most people do not know about protein. After the age of 60, and sometimes earlier, your body stops absorbing protein the way it used to. You can eat the same amount you have always eaten, and your muscles still shrink. Your body becomes less efficient at taking the protein you consume and turning it into muscle tissue. The medical term for this is sarcopenia. But what it looks like in a real human being is Raymond, 71 years old, down 31 pounds from his peak, his grip so weak he could barely open a jar, falling on a Tuesday morning because his legs simply did not have the strength anymore to catch him. Raymond was not sick exactly. His heart was fine. His blood pressure was controlled. His cholesterol was decent, but he was disappearing from the outside in, and neither of us paid enough attention until it was almost too late. He ate eggs every morning, 2 eggs scrambled with toast, had done it for 30 years, and he thought, the way most people do, that he was handling his protein. He had heard his whole life that eggs were one of the best protein sources there were. And they are good. I am not here to tell you eggs are bad, but 2 eggs in the morning gives you about 12 grams of protein. And a man Raymond's age, with his level of muscle loss, needed closer to 100 grams per day. He was not even close. Now let me tell you about the food I am talking about. And I want you to really hear this, because when I say it, some of you are going to roll your eyes, and I understand that. I was skeptical too at first. The food is spirulina. Spirulina is a blue-green algae, a microscopic aquatic plant that has been on this earth for over 3 billion years. It grows in fresh water. It looks like a dark green powder. It does not look like much. And for years, I dismissed it the way most traditionally trained physicians of my generation did. We were taught to trust what came in pill bottles and prescription pads. We were not taught to take algae seriously. But here is what I did not know, and what most people still do not know. By weight, spirulina is approximately 70% complete protein. 70%. Compare that to an egg, which is about 12% protein by weight. A single tablespoon of dried spirulina, 1 tablespoon, about 7 grams, contains 4 grams of highly bioavailable protein. And a full 3 tablespoon serving gives you more than 12 grams of protein, the same as 2 eggs, in a fraction of the calories, with virtually no fat. and with a profile of essential amino acids that rivals meat. When you scale that against weight, spirulina has somewhere between 6 and 10 times more protein per gram than a whole egg. 6 to 10 times. I am not inventing that number. It is there in the nutritional literature going back decades. I just never paid attention to it the way I should have. I want to tell you what happened the afternoon Raymond's daughter called me. Her name is Patricia. She was crying so hard I could barely understand her. She said, "Leonard, Dad fell. He's okay. They're checking him out at the hospital. But Leonard, you should see him. He's just so thin. He's just so thin." I drove to that hospital in 23 minutes. I still remember the drive. It was October, the leaves were turning, and I was talking to God the whole way there. I was saying things I had not said since my wife Margaret passed 4 years earlier. When I walked into that room and saw Raymond in that hospital bed, I stopped. I stood in the doorway and I just looked at him. His arms on top of the blanket were like branches. His collarbones were visible through his gown. He was conscious. He was talking. He gave me a little wave and said, "Don't make that face, Leonard." But his voice was thin too. He had fractured his wrist in the fall. He was dehydrated. His albumin levels, the protein in his blood that tells you how the body is doing, were critically low. The hospitalist who had admitted him told me quietly in the hallway, "He's malnourished. I don't know how long this has been going on, but it's been a while." I went home that night and I sat in my kitchen and I thought, I am a doctor. This is my best friend. How did I miss this? The answer, of course, was that I saw Raymond the way we all see people we have known for decades. I saw the man I met when we were both 36 years old, playing baseball in a church parking lot. I stopped looking at the man who was actually in front of me. After Raymond was discharged, I became obsessed. I started reading everything I could find on protein absorption in aging adults. I called a colleague of mine, a nutritional biochemist named Dr. Vance, someone I had kept in loose contact with since a conference in the early 2000s, and I said to him, "Tell me what I am missing. Tell me what I should have been telling my patients all along." He talked to me for 2 hours, and partway through that conversation, he mentioned spirulina. I pushed back the way I always do when something sounds too simple. I said, "Come on, algae? Really?" And he laughed. He said, "Leonard, you keep waiting for the solution to look like a drug. Sometimes the solution looks like pond scum, and it's been sitting in health food stores for 40 years, while we ignored it." I ordered a bag the next day. I started adding it to smoothies, Raymond's smoothies actually, because by that point, I had appointed myself his unofficial nutritional guardian, a job he found alternately touching and annoying. I blended it into banana and peanut butter with some whole milk, and I started bringing it over 3 mornings a week. At first, he made a face. He said it tasted like lawn clippings. I told him to drink it anyway. Now I want to be very clear about something, because I am a doctor, and I take accuracy seriously. Spirulina is not a miracle. It is not a cure for sarcopenia on its own. What it is one of the most efficient, most bioavailable, most nutrient-dense sources of protein that exists on this earth. And it is largely unknown to the generation of people who need it most. Alongside the spirulina, Raymond started eating more deliberately. We added Greek yogurt, lentils, lean chicken. We calculated his daily protein targets and worked backward from there. He started working with a physical therapist 3 times a week, rebuilding strength in the muscles that still remained. If you are watching this and you have a parent, a mother, a father, who has been losing weight slowly, who looks a little thinner every time you see them, who falls and you are not sure why, please do not chalk it up to getting old. Muscle loss is real, it is measurable, and it is something that can be addressed. Your doctor should be checking albumin levels. Your parent should be eating more protein than they probably think they need. The general guidance for older adults is at minimum 1.2 grams of protein per kilogram of body weight per day. For a 160-pound person, that is roughly 87 grams of protein every single day. Most older adults are getting half that. Raymond turned 74 last spring. I know because I was there. A small dinner at Patricia's house, her 2 grandkids running around the backyard. Raymond sitting at the head of the table, looking more like himself than he had in years. He stood up to give a little toast, and his voice was stronger. Not a young man's voice, but his voice, the one I recognized from 43 years of friendship. He looked around the table and he said, "I almost became a very sad story." He said it lightly, the way he always did when he was saying something serious. But I have very stubborn friends. He looked at me when he said that last part. I had to look down at my plate for a moment. I am telling you this because I spent 41 years in medicine, and I still almost missed something this important in someone I loved. I am not telling you this to frighten you. I am telling you this because I know, statistically, that at least some of you watching right now have a parent or a spouse, or you yourself are experiencing this quiet disappearing. The weight you cannot explain, the weakness that gets worse every year, the falls that are starting to happen more often. Protein. It always comes back to protein. And the most concentrated, efficient, complete source of protein that I have found, the one I now add to my own morning routine at 79 years old, is spirulina. 1 tablespoon in a smoothie. That is all it takes to start. Work up from there. Your muscles are talking to you. They have been talking to you for years. The question is whether you are listening. Raymond listened, eventually, with a little help. Don't wait until someone has to drag you to the hospital to start listening too. I will see you in the next one. Take care of yourselves.